This is your first day. Your designation will be RP-01/138. We expect great things from you. You have been born into dangerous times. A sharp mind can be the key to survival. But as often as not, it will be your inherent physical traits that win the day. And in this regard, you will be superior to your more common brethren. For you are a commando, an elite unit, something truly special. Your weapons, your armor, and most importantly, your brothers.
All right, men. Listen up.
Delta Squad, form up.
Forming up, boss.
What up, my fellow Republic Commandos? It is your boy Trey of the Bat Channel. We are live once again in a galaxy far, far away, but this time in the Batcave. As always, I have to bring in the best co-host I could have ever ask for. He is a Sith Lord himself, Super Bro Corey.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
What's up, big fella?
What's up, buddy? How we doing today?
I gotta be honest, man. This week has been a rough freaking week. You know, it was not a good week. Honestly, this is what I've been looking forward to my entire week.
What I look forward to every week.
Pretty much. You know, it was just one of those things, you know, where you just couldn't get out of a rut of dealing with craziness at work. But I'm glad to be with my people up in this house. Delta Squad is forming up once again, so I'm just not going to waste any time with our Andor episode 4 breakdown. Let's bring in our panel, the amazing Delta Squad, with Mr. Orc and Beans 14. up, big fella?
Hello,
Organ
hello, hello.
beats.
Hello there.
Hey, Trey, do you know who had a worse week than you did?
The Bears.
Surreal Karn did. He got to go back to living with his mama.
Man, I like when I saw that, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. That was not a direction I thought they were going to take with him, but you know,
he'll be back. I believe he'll be back.
You know, we all been down that road where, you know, like, hey, mom, dad, lost my job. I thought I could make it. I thought I could make it as a country music star, as a rock star, you know, and it didn't pan out.
You and all that football gear, though. I was expecting you to say Tua.
Yeah, poor guy.
Oh man.
Well, Corey, let's go ahead and bring in our other boy. You know him as the Savage Bat.
Pow!
Hit it.
Yeah. Come on. Straight out of G-City. Y'all know me. I'm Batman, the motherfucking Dark Knight. I'm a playboy by day, vigilante by night. I'm Batman, the defender of Gotham. I dress up like a bat, cause it's motherfucking awesome. Batman's in the house, come and party in the Bat Cave. Yo, Alfred.
Yes, Master Wayne.
Bring some more Cavassier.
Yo, what's up, motherfuckers?
What's up, my man Savage? How you doing?
What's going on?
Hey, Savage.
How's everyone doing this week? You know, it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, it has for me a little bit.
Yeah,
Up and down, yeah.
Up and down
But-
as well.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Man, see, this is just the universe trying to tell us, the Force, the midichlorians.
Yeah, well, there is apparently some sort of shift in the planets going on at the moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe it's that.
Going after us all.
Yeah,
I had a great week.
Yeah, crazy. Like, yeah, man, it wasn't me. He's drawn off of that dark power Sith Lord energy, you know.
Well, you know, they do live a pretty good lifestyle in the Empire.
You know, as always. Well, guys, I just want to like get right into the show because I'm just excited to be here with you guys, and I've missed you. I know it hasn't been terribly long. It's been a week, but nonetheless, I know we're doing a Friday night show, not our typical time, but this weekend we all kind of got craziness going on, and I like to have my boys here. Yeah, I like to have the commandos up in this business when we talk about Star Wars things. And with Andor episode 4, you knew that with episode 3, it was going to be a bit different. It's probably going to be slower, a little lighter in tone, but you know, it was still, I felt like a pretty good episode because we thought, you know, is pretty much we're in Star Wars world, which I appreciate. By the way, I know I kind of skipped a lot, Corey. I apologize.
Yeah.
I was just, you can tell I was just ready to go. Ready to go.
We're ready to go in. We're
just
going
ready
in.
to go. But as
Like,
always,
share,
guys,
subscribe.
yeah, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, you know, so you never miss an episode, because I don't like to miss my favorite episodes with the Savage Bat. He's doing some killer shows, you know, Saturday and Sunday. He's also he's just all around in the DC world, hanging out, doing some crazy panels with people. Organ Beans was killing it on Twitch earlier today. Yeah, what was it? Oh gosh, I'm trying to think what the game was.
Escape from Tarkov.
Okay, I always forget the name of that one because I know you've been going at it for a while now.
Yeah, that's kind of been my main game right now. But on Sundays, I've been trying to do chill Sundays where I play something a little more chill. And one day I tried to learn how to code. So Sundays are kind of
chill. Tell me don't chill.
You don't chill.
Those are my orc and chill Sundays. So
nice. I dig it. Well, guys, if you haven't checked out his Twitch yet and don't have a Twitch, what are you doing with your life? Just get on it. Just get on it. And as always, share this video right now to get your friends into the chat. Corey, who all do we have in the chat right now?
Yeah, man, it's pretty good chat.
People.
You know, Batdan's causing mayhem already, but typical Batdan. I love to see it. Hashtag everyone gave up. Red Hooded Outlaw, my boy Bat Fanatic. Hashtag Restore the Snyderverse guy. We got Retro Nerd Girl out there. What's up, Retro? Beyond the Night. We got Trevor H out there. My boy Trevor H. I think I said Bat Fanatic, but Bat Fanatic.
For the Republic.
Ray is out there. We got the Butler out there, and we got a few more, but I've been kind of slacking today on starring people. So if I missed you, I'm sorry.
Well, guys, it's so good to see you all in the chat. Thank you for always showing up. Some of our OGs, for our Star Wars Andor shows, because I know it's been a little mixed reviews. Some people are digging it, some people aren't. But I think that's just Star Wars in general now. People are either digging it or hating it. So, but so far, I feel like we're enjoying it, guys.
I also feel like Disney Plus isn't promoting it as much as other Star Wars shows. Because like when I went to go watch it today, and you know it has like that banner or whatever that shows you new stuff. The first one was Hocus Pocus 2.
Well, it did just come out today,
but still, like I still had to like scroll through to like find it. Like I feel like I haven't seen a ton of like promotional stuff for Andor.
I also feel like you haven't seen a ton of articles come out saying like, oh my God, like an incredible like weekend watch, ratings coming in for Andor. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, when the first episode came out, it was the biggest, most watched Disney Plus show ever.
I have some thoughts about that, and I was talking to Super Bat Mom. She's been watching it too, so remind me to bring that up at the end. We have a theory that why this may not be taking off as much as some of the other ones.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts, my man. That could be interesting and intriguing for sure. But with episode 4, guys, for the first time, or I mean, in this entire episode, we didn't get a flashback. Thoughts? Why do you think that was? For the first time out of the 4 episodes, we didn't get any flashbacks. Why do you think that was?
One, I was sad by it because I like the flashbacks. And 2, I felt like this whole episode was kind of a bridge episode and kind of a like get to meet the crew episode. So I felt like there wasn't a time in the episode where a flashback would have made sense. I felt it was very like, we're going to get to know the crew. We're going to get to know what they're going to go do. And we need to get to the next episode. I think next episode is going to be a big one. And so even though I really like the flashbacks, it didn't seem like there was a time for one to happen.
Okay. How about you, Savage? I like all your points that you brought up, Orkin Beans, and I think you're probably accurate on that. It was kind of like a filler bridge episode to kind of meet the new crew, kind of start us on our. It seems like the first 3 episodes was a chapter. Now we're on to chapter 2 of the Andor series. But Savage, what's your thoughts on no flashback this round?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it's one of the most beautiful episodes so far with Coruscant. Can't believe it. And it's really, really strange that it's actually looking better than the movies, this episode. It's like they really have pulled out all the stops on, the CGI and casting, costumes, everything really.
Yeah, and I agree that even aesthetically, they kind of just world spanning. I mean, when you think about it, we did Lightspeed, we went to Coruscant, we saw some of the other planets, and then we obviously the one where this episode mainly takes place on, Andani, was it?
Yeah.
Something Adahani.
Aldhani. Yeah, that's right. Is where this episode takes place mostly on. I think they created it for this show. I don't recall this being a part of Star Wars lore. Guys, when we get to the beginning of this episode, obviously Cassian and Luthen are kind of, this is their opportunity to kind of get to know each other a little bit. What did you think of their initial reaction and honestly kind of their first moment without having to worry about anyone chasing them? This was kind of the moment for them to really discuss and figure each other out. What did you guys think about it?
I felt like this was another episode to show how much Luthen knows about Cassian, because Cassian's talking about like, I was serving, and he talks about he was like at war or something, and Luthen's like, you were a cook and you were only on the ground for like 6 months, and then only reason you lived was because you left. And so I think it was just kind of another moment for Cassian to be like, holy shit, this dude did his homework on me. And also I think it kind of builds up kind of what character Cassian is. It sounds like he's kind of a runner and not so much of a fighter. And so it was kind of an interesting way to show like Luthen knows more than we think, and also Cassian's kind of showing some of his colors.
Yeah, Yeah. How about you, Savage?
On what when they're meeting up with the new team, you mean?
Well, mostly the first interaction with Cassian and Luthen. Like, it was really their first time figuring each other out, and their discussion together. Like, what did you think about, like, clearly Luthen? I mean, Cassian gave a story of his past, of how he understands how wars work, and Luthen kind of caught him almost in a lie. In the sense, it was like, dude, you were a cook and you ran. That's why you survived. It wasn't because you were on the ground fighting. What do you think about that whole dialogue that those two had with each other for kind of their first calm sit down with each other?
Yeah, I really liked it. And, the relationship thing going on with them two is brilliant, because we'll get to this a little bit later in the episode. But my theory on the Emperor thing started to look really highly likely as well. But yeah, he definitely just made it clear. I know the truth. There's no point in lying to me, and I know more. So keep paying attention, and you'll learn more. Yeah.
How about you, Corey? What was your thoughts on their first initial dialogue with each other?
I'm just curious. How does he know so much about him, dude? That's like the part that is like, whoa, like he's keeping tabs for sure. So that was an interesting theme there. They caught him in a lie.
Trevor writes, cinema photography is the best, some of the best I've seen in the whole of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Retro Nerd Girl says, I'm loving Andor so far. I love the tone and the acting is superb. There's mystery and giving us a new point of view of Star Wars lore. I think that's what's been really great about this is, and it's why I put this in the thumbnail of like, who can you trust in this thing? Everyone is like creating, and then part of it's the paranoia from the rebellion just starting out, because the Empire is everywhere. The senators, you can tell there's this tension where everyone just doesn't know, like, who's a part of the Empire, who's a part of the rebellion, who's going to back you up if you are part of the rebellion, and who's maybe going to try to save their own neck and rat you out to the Empire, and maybe the other way around, and
walking on the eggshells the entire time.
Totally,
man. And everybody's a spy.
Yes, and I hope they go hardcore about that. I want to see something like this. This is going to be kind of a bad example, and I know some Star Wars fans are going to be like, "Seriously, bro, did you have to use this as the example?"
Star Trek.
No, I was going to say Knives Out. And the reason why people are going to be upset was because of Rian Johnson being the director and he did The Last Jedi. I understand that, but like in that particular movie, you didn't know whose narrative and story to trust. You didn't know if they were helping you, against you, had their own, ambitions in mind, if they were just looking out for themselves. And I really hope that there's this moment in this show where Cassian just can't trust anyone, and maybe he makes a call of who to trust, and that's the person that he thinks he can lay it all on the line for, and to only find out that that person is part of the Empire, or someone who flips on them because they're out to save their own skin, or they're put in that position. I think if they really just play with that tone and that kind of, it's the interesting part, right? Of like Rogue One, all these Star Wars scenes, George Lucas like really got us in the mindset that Rebels good. They're the good guys. They can't do no wrong. They're out to save the Republic, and then the Empire bad guys. But this, you're seeing the levels of the officers, how they all of them really, to be a part of the Empire, there's like no comfort, like the main guy is gonna like call you out on your shit, and you don't know if he's gonna be like, you're fired and you're gonna be thrown in for treason because I don't like you. There's just all that kind of sense of.
There was a couple of scenes of that.
Yeah,
basically threats. They were basically threats.
Yeah, totally.
But
and
they really
like if you don't do your job, you're dead.
Yeah.
They really did clean up the streets, though. I don't see people walk around death sticks anymore.
What did amuse me was later on in the episode, Mon Mothma said, "I feel like I'm under siege." Well, that is exactly what you are. You are under siege. It's not you feel like you are. You are.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I really loved, especially in this first scene with Cassian and Luthen, was, I mean, we're starting to learn a little bit more about Luthen, and we can tell he's smart, right? He's just very brilliant in how he's handling everything. We don't know exactly why why he went out of his way to go get this guy instead of the Starpath unit, other than he'll be a valuable member. We know that because of Rogue One, but in terms of him, hopefully that's revealed in time. But the fact that I think he knew, like, I'm going to pay this guy 200,000 credits, but he's not really a part of the cause. I think he's kind of hoping that and planning down in his mind that this guy eventually is going to find his purpose, find the cause within himself to join the rebellion, that maybe he won't have to pay him 200,000 credits. But all that considering, the fact that he gave him the Kyber crystal and he was like, this is the down payment, but I don't want you to sell this. Like, this belongs to me. This means something to me.
I didn't like how many times he said that. Like, it kind of made me want to sell it.
Corey's like, 50,000 credits?
50,000.
I'll get 100.
I can get 100K for that.
Like, in that case, I really just need a meal. I'll go for a Happy Meal. Is that okay? Star Wars Happy Meal? You know, with a little toy in it and everything, done. I'll trade it. First off, he has a Kyber crystal.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that means something? Do you think he was maybe a former Jedi or knew a Jedi, or it's just a collector scene that
it is blue as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps he knew one. But I'll get back to my Emperor theory. Perhaps he's killed someone, took it from them. Maybe.
Interesting thought.
But yeah, we'll get to that later because there was a scene in there that was backs up my theory.
I want to make all the Kyber crystals red.
No making them bleed, Corey. How about you, Orc and Beans? What did you think of him having a Kyber crystal and having that trust that Cassian's not going to get rid of it, but also having the courage to be like, here you go,
I less cool thought. I just thought he had it because he seems to be a collector. We find that out later that he's got a whole shop of cool stuff, and so he clearly gets it valuable items somehow. So I just assumed that maybe it was an item that he had gotten and he really liked it, and so he kept it. But there also might be some sort of story because he keeps saying it's really special to him, and so there's probably something there to it. But my backup plan is that he's just a collector.
Interesting. How about you, Corey? Do you have any theories about where he got that Kyber crystal?
No. It is interesting. I like both theories from Savage and Orc, actually. I love the fact that Savage dropped, the Emperor may have given it to him as like, here's a relic, and maybe that's why it's so important to him though too. It's like, oh yeah, I got this guy, naming them, like, I'm gonna name this one Obi-Wan, or whatever they want to do, So there's some coolness to that. But he does have a shop, so it's like, I wonder. Well, I'm curious about it. I'm curious to see where they go with it. I'm curious why he's so, in love with the Kyber crystal. And, I almost wonder in some ways if he's trying to test Andor a little bit, like with how many times he kept saying, don't sell it, like, I want it back. To me, it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to sell this shit, like, don't press the red button. Don't press the red button. I'm going to press that red button. So I'm curious if he'll end up giving it back to him, or if it's going to, find its way elsewhere.
I just want to point out as well that in Rogue One, they were farming Kyber crystals to power the Death Star, so there could be some connection there. Another Emperor connection.
That's a good point.
Yeah, possibly. That's an interesting point for sure. One thing I also just loved was, I mean, once again, you're just seeing how intelligent Luthen is, but like how he's basically, Cassian's shaving and Luthen's getting ready for the arrival of this rebel leader to join them and to basically give them Cassian to use for their mission. And he's basically breaking down the entire argument that he's about to have with this person. He's like, she's going to say this. I'm going to tell her this. This is going to happen. And he was right every step of the way. And I think that just goes to show you how well he knows people, how he's easily, able to read them. And maybe that's kind of a Jedi attribute, is to have that force sense, to really like know maybe? Somebody. What's that?
You will let Andor be a part of the group.
Right, you will let Andor be part.
He's a little force sensitive. Maybe Luthen is.
What did you guys think of this new rebel leader? I'm totally spacing her name right now, and I'm trying to find it.
Bell or something.
Bell.
It's something like a V.
Vel. That's right. Yeah, Vel. What did you think of her? I mean, clearly it just goes to show the paranoia of the rebels, and one thing that kind of reminded me, and I think they're doing so well of continuing the tone quality of Rogue One, was that like Saul Guerrero, who is played by Forrest Whitaker, he was so paranoid in that film, right? Like he's just so like everyone's out to get him, everyone's out to kill him and assassinate him, and it kind of felt weird the first time you watched that, because once again George Lucas kind of led you to believe rebels were all good, There's no reason to fear people of your alliance. But this show makes you understand of the cost of having too much trust, how the Empire just really kind of was everywhere and the spies were everywhere, and which is why they had to walk on eggshells. What did you think of that particular scene with Vel, where she's just kind of like, the group's not going to like this. We're about to start this mission. You're bringing in some new guy and a mercenary who's not even a part of the cause. What do you think it says about, it seems like they have a relationship with Vel and Luthen, because he says, you wanted to be a leader. I'm giving you this opportunity. Do you think there's some type of, he rescued her or anything?
That's his daughter.
You think it's his daughter?
Yeah, I 100% think that's his daughter. Because I think that's why he knows how she's going to respond to it. And then, as she's walking up, Cassian says, like, who is that? And he's like, oh, that's who you're working for. And he goes, but I thought you were in charge. He's like, I never said that. And so if she's in charge, he yells at her at one point. He yells at her, look at me. When he's talking to her, you wouldn't yell at your boss like that. And, he says things like, you wanted to be, like what you just said, you wanted to be a leader. I'm giving you that. That's a dad thing. That's like, I totally think that's his daughter. They look alike. They got the same colored eyes, same hair. That's 100% his daughter.
Ooh.
Okay.
Me and my brother thought exactly the same thing.
Attaboy.
And the biggest indicator of it is when he shouted at her. It was like, so there's more to that there. Definitely.
How about you, Super Bro? Are you convinced that it's his daughter?
It was definitely an interesting relationship, and it was kind of confusing how he just like tossed off who's in charge type thing, and because he seems like he's a very controlling, or maybe not controlling, but he's like a few steps ahead, right? Like he's like 10 steps ahead the entire time. So it's interesting. So like clearly has these, I don't want to say pawns, but for them to have the relationship they do, the daughter rumor is definitely an interesting one to me. And hearing Savage and Orc kind of dive deeper into it, I completely agree.
I honestly didn't. It didn't cross my mind that would be the case. But now that you guys say it, I think you may be right on that.
Because who else would he give control to, with him being 10 steps ahead all the time? It'd have to be somebody he super trusts, right?
Well, I mean, he's definitely playing it close to the chess, right? Because you even see, like, at that time where Cassian's like, well, Luthen said, and she says, don't say his name ever, which shows how much she wants to protect him, but also once again, that paranoia that he is so in it with the Empire and everything that's going on at Coruscant that he's keeping his name secret from all of the rebels, even, which is, to me, like I said, that whole concept is very intriguing and exciting, and you're just kind of like, this is going to be like just a hell zone once this stuff explodes and everyone figures them out. But I think that just goes to show that Orc and Beans and Savage might be onto something, that it could be very well his daughter. Good catch, guys. I didn't see that myself. And one thing, like we talked about throughout this entire series, the first 3 episodes didn't really feel like Star Wars, but we talked about the moment we would, get to basically the rest of the world, we would start to see and get that more of that Star Wars feel. And I feel like you get that immediately when you get the Security Council of the Empire, but you also see the TIE fighters, right? Seeing the TIE fighters again, I mean, brief.
That's awesome.
But it took you right back, right? Took you, like, you hear the sound and you're like, as a kid, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. I have a question that maybe you guys might be able to help me, because there's a comment that's made while they're walking up, and I got really confused. So as they're walking up, she says something like along the lines of like, "Oh, with us," and he goes, "Well, how many is us?" And she says there's 7. But when you get to the end of the show, or when they're at the campfire, I only counted 6. Is she including Luthen in that 7? Because I figured his question didn't include Luthen in that number, and I didn't think her original answer did. But when I watched another guy talk about the episode, I forget his YouTube channel, when, spoiler, a guy shows up, he says that's the 7th member. I figured she wasn't including Luthen, and I thought his question didn't include Luthen. So, do you think when she said 7, she is including him? Or is it not including him and there's a 7th member we haven't seen yet?
If I had to guess, I would probably say it's someone we haven't seen yet, because I think based off that whole thing where she shot him down pretty quickly, saying like, never mention his name.
That's what I was thinking too.
I don't think she would refer to him as a member.
And exactly. I have a theory on who I think the 7th member is, and we'll talk about that later.
Ooh.
Oh, I think I know who you're going to say.
There's clearly someone that there's the best option who number 7 should be. But we'll talk about that later. Stay tuned, everyone. Keep watching.
Stay tuned. Smash that like, share this video, subscribe. Do the plugs, Orc. That's very interesting. What do you think of that, Savage? Do you think there's a 7th member we haven't seen yet?
I don't know. I didn't really actually even spot that, to be honest with you.
It was something that's bugged me ever since, and that's why I love that we do these shows, because it's bugged me since I watched it. Because I watched it today, and I was like, I only count 6, because from the group that we've seen, we have the 2 black guys, the 2 women, the younger kid, and then Cassian. So I couldn't tell if she was including Luthen or not, because she just got done saying don't talk about him.
Oh, then, I think I've just worked out who it is as well. What was it?
There's got to be it's got to be the. I think we're all putting it together on who that 7th person has to be, but.
Am I gonna say it? You gonna say it?
No, I'm not gonna say it. We're gonna wait till the end.
We'll wait to the end with the theories, ideas that of who we think that 7th member is. But
they say his name in that bit as well.
Oh, I see. Mine's not a male.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah. Right, neither is mine.
I'm super excited for the end of this episode.
This is gonna be interesting. Well. So, well, stick around, folks, because we can discuss some theories now, guys. We do get to the Empire on Coruscant with the security briefing going on, and this is a very interesting scene. I mean, it's about what you would expect from the Empire, and obviously the kind of this leader of this security council is a hard ass like everyone else. But I love that everyone just feels tense around this dude. It's almost like the I feel like maybe it's Darth Vader who set this precedence that if you just answer in a way that he doesn't like, you'll be killed on the spot.
Choke a bitch.
Yeah. You've now been promoted, admirable. You know, apologies.
Admirable.
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 See, can you tell I'm tired? It's been a long day, Corey.
Admirable.
Honorable. What did you guys think of this whole scene? Everyone's kind of talking, and this one girl, God, see, I'm spacing all the new cast members' name. What's that?
It's like
Deidre Miro.
Deidre Miro.
You're talking about the blonde hair chick, right?
Yes, Deidre. You can tell she's probably the most they focus on, where she's not saying anything, but it's her reactions. But the first thing that's mentioned that really catches her attention is what happened to the planet that we were on with Cassian. I think it was it started with an F. Ferrix, yeah. See, I'm working it. I'm getting back in. My brain's working. Ferrix. She learns what happened with Ferrix and how the Pre-Mor security just failed miserably, and that these two guys got away. And she starts to investigate it because it's connected somehow to her star path that went missing. What did you guys think of that entire scene?
First of all, Anton Lesson, who is the actor that plays the guy that was walking around. Love that guy. He was in Game of Thrones.
I thought so. Okay.
He's an amazing actor, and so I was really excited to see him. I had a huge pop when he showed up. But yeah, he was intimidating, and at first I thought maybe she got her ears perked up because maybe she had a connection with what happened or whatever. But I mean, based off of what I saw in the episode, she really was just kind of nervous that something that was part of her jurisdiction got stolen, and you know, we kind of the other guy kind of alludes to she's trying to grow her career and step up the ladder and stuff like that. I don't know if that's necessarily what her motive is, because I feel like that's a really weird plot line to have, is like, all right, we're gonna watch this girl try to raise in the ranks, but she was. It's interesting, and that whole scene was pretty cool, and I love those like intense, you know, meetings basically between everyone, and see, you know, are they gonna kill some dude because he answered the question wrong? I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. I think that. How about you, Savage? What did you think of our first time seeing the Empire Security Council?
Yeah, it was really good. It was like kind of like a new take on it, like inspired by the original sort of thing. But it was very like I said earlier, like it was like everything was kind of a sort of sneaky threat to each other. Yeah. You know, like any moment, you know, you could be killed for like saying the wrong thing, or you know, answering back to that guy. That didn't go well. I think he said, "Don't look down," as she walked out the room. Yeah. That sounded like a threat to me. Yeah, that was good. But yeah, the Empire likes a you know, a good-looking blonde as well. We had some rebel officers in Rebels, you know, sorry, Imperial officers in Rebels. That was a bit like that. I was thinking maybe it was that one from Rebels, but she come across as too much of a klutz, though. I can't remember her name now. But at first I thought it might have been her, but I don't think so. I think that she was like the sort of minister of Lofi or something like that. And yeah, she got in trouble with Vader and all that. But yeah, I'm really liking the whole dynamic of the Empire.
Retro Nerd Girl just said it in the chat. The speech about being in healthcare was awesome. Yeah. I loved that, and just like, we cure diseases around here. Like, you know, it was an interesting way for him to put it, and it was just so like sinister and cool. I loved that speech.
I especially liked how, you know, the girl officer, she gave the, you know, mission statement answer, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, great job," but not true. You know, it was very much like just how you would imagine with that meeting. Like, yeah, okay, that's what the book says, but here's the truth. You know, we are the cure to the disease of rebellion. You know, shit like that, which was, I thought, just a great speech. How about you, Corey? What did you think of the Security Council briefing?
You know, it was one of my favorite scenes in this show for sure, in this episode. I even mentioned to Super Bat Mom that just the characters and the actors and actresses that they casted was a fantastic job, and they all looked super evil. You know, they all have that, you know, bony, angular, face.
Oh, so kind of like
Tarkin.
Yep, thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I spotted that guy. One of them really looked like Tarkin.
Yes.
Obviously can't be because it's the wrong age, but yeah, he really looked like him.
Yes.
With a sort of dark eyeshadow and that jaw thing.
Absolutely. So, it was very cool to see. It was cool how they, you know, they're just kind of rocking that shit right now. You know, they chilling, they're living their best lives. You know, they're in control. So, yeah. But I also liked how, you know, like everybody has a little bit of a swag to themselves until the main boss comes, and everybody shuts the F up. Then, you know, they're like, we're just gonna be quiet, you know, and then say what we have to say. And man, you know, some of those scenes where he's firing back at you quick too, you know, like I'd be like, excuse me, what did you say? And then I feel like just that alone would be like,
yeah. Like, we need a new officer in charge of sanitation.
Come again?
One of the things, there was a couple things I did catch, some Easter eggs that, I don't know, just made me kind of giddy as a Star Wars fan. But there's a few planets that are mentioned in that security briefing, like Arvela 6, which does that sound familiar at all? I'll give you a little hint. It's a connection to Mando.
Doesn't he go to 7 to find Baby Yoda?
That is correct, sir. You nailed it. Yep. So it's part of the same system where Din Djarin found Baby Yoda, or I guess Grogu now. So I was kind of
Yoda in my hearts.
When they said it, I was like, I see what you did there. And that's when Din Djarin shows up all of a sudden at the final 3 episodes to just take this whole thing to a whole new place. I'm just kidding. Hopefully they don't pull a Book of Boba in this. But they also talked about Ryloth, which Ryloth was big in not only in Star Wars Clone Wars, but it was also in Rebels. But it's the home planet of the Twi'leks.
Yeah.
So like Ayla Sakura. Yeah,
French.
See, never mind.
The French in space.
French.
Yeah, they are. Most of them have got French accents.
Yeah. I guess the French of the Star Wars galaxy for sure.
Yeah.
But it was cool that, like, you know, we're hearing kind of the other planets that we all know and love of all the Star Wars stuff. But this whole episode, speaking of Easter eggs, was just like jam-packed of Easter eggs. It was phenomenal. Like, it literally just, I'm sure.
Bring up the next slide.
Sure, Corey, go ahead. This is just a slide of things I was able to pick apart. I will say there was one that I didn't even catch that I heard about. I searched for and found a picture of. It's the one in the bottom right corner. But even with the scene with Cassian meeting the rebels, you hear one of the rebels like talking to the guy who fell asleep. And he was like, dude, if you did that and Saw Gerrera was there, like, you would be murdered right now, which cool to hear that, you know, Saw, they're still talking about him, obviously, because he'd be still alive by this time, and obviously very radical for the rebels, and probably a legend in terms of all the crazy tactics the guy would have. But with this Luthen shot, we learned that Luthen, and someone I think mentioned it great. I loved how when he finally gets to Coruscant and he's like redressing himself and getting back into his Coruscant attire, and you could tell he does, I think someone said, that fake smile. He's trying to put his you know, his face on, where he's your typical spoiled Coruscant, you know, being, you know, citizen who's living the high life, not having to worry about the Empire because he is a part of the Empire.
How did the elite become elite?
What's up?
How did these elite people become elite? You know,
is this your connection with Savage, where you think because he is part of that elite that maybe he got that elite power with his antique store through some of the collections that he's done for maybe Lord Sidious.
It's suspicious,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Well, not to mention, if you get the picture up again, he's actually wearing a wig that's the same as Palpatine's and nearly the same clothes as well. I know the senators must sort of wear that gear, but it's pretty much the same.
That's interesting. That is very, very interesting, sir. Well, obviously, the very, probably one of the coolest things in Luthen's shop was we do get to meet a famous Star Wars character, but Mon Mothman. Just awesome to see her. And actually, this is the same actress who has played her in Revenge of the Sith in the deleted scene. And also she played her in Rogue One. So it's cool that they got her back to play this character over and over. And it doesn't look like she's aged one bit. So that's exciting. But guys, some of the Easter eggs that I saw was there was Mandalorian armor. It looked very similar to even Jango Fett's armor. I wish I could show my cursor on the thing, but it's in that far right picture where I have the circle. Probably one of the craziest Easter eggs was the Star Killer from Force Unleashed. Corey, you remember playing this game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When I saw this, I did a double take and was like, no, because that game's technically not canon, and you look closer and closer and I'm like, holy shit, that is it. Or at least a design very similar to where they're basically nodding to that whole game. But it's the Dark Lord Star Killer armor that Galen Merrick wore in the alternate Dark Side ending of the Force Unleashed game. And I thought that was just crazy to finally see it. There it is. Did any of you guys catch that? Did it look familiar? Have any of you guys played Force Unleashed?
I played Force Unleashed. I didn't recognize it at first, but when the assistant is showing the driver the coins, you can see a Gungan shield in the back.
Oh, I didn't catch that. See, there was I bet people have picked this apart and have found some of the craziest shit in the world. Another thing that I happened to catch was from Star Wars Rebels. We saw the Twi'lek Calicori, which is let's see, I'm trying to figure. Oh no, did I accident? Oh no, okay. It's very hard to see on my slide. Corey, can you make it full picture? So in the middle right picture on the far side, you'll see in the top right corner there's the Twi'lek holding the Twi'lek Calicori from the Rebels show. And just below that is the artifact in his build, in his shop. That's obviously a generational heirloom that's passed down from parent to child through Twi'lek families. It was kind of just a cool thing to see. Just one of those things that you kind of nerd out a bit, and you're like, oh man, I know what they're talking about. But even Luthen mentions Rakatan, which is the Rakata invaders in that particular scene with his the weapon that kind of looks like that New Zealand weapon. That's something that wasn't mentioned until Knights of the Old Republic. The Gungan shield, could it be setting up Dark Hey man, I still have high hopes.
Please,
for Dark
no. Please, no.
Yes, Alex Rat, you're wrong. The Dark Jar Jar will be the greatest reveal in history.
I want the final Star Wars movie to be the Darth Jar Jar movie.
Yep.
Oh no, man, that would be the worst thing.
And he should just show up at the very end, kill all the heroes, and it's just his empire.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't spot the Star Killer armor at first. My brother did. He went, "Oh, that's that Star Killer armor." I said, "Oh yeah, I thought it was familiar." And because that was a long time ago when I played them games.
Yeah, man, it was so funny. My wife looked at me because I did the whole Leonardo DiCaprio, point theme, and she was just like, "What?" And I was like, "That. Why does that look familiar?"
Also, the other thing is, you said about the Mandalorian armor. I thought it looked more like the Sith police armor from Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, interesting.
You know, like the sort of police that are walking around. Like,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think it's
when the Sith were in charge. It looked a little bit more like that.
Interesting. I'll have to look that up. When I zoomed up the picture, it looked a lot like Jango Fett's arm, because they even had that kind of that like diamond metal piece that he has in the center of his chest plate. But maybe you're right. I mean, someone in the chat might have to tell us if there was something else, or if that was what Savage said. But yeah, they even had the world between worlds, those little sandstones that we saw, which was kind of like crazy to see, because that wasn't, Corey. I know I'm spoiling a lot for you right now, because if you haven't seen Clone Wars,
yeah, that was big.
But World Between Worlds, Corey, is one of my favorite episodes. I think takes place, I want to say season 3, maybe season 4. I can't recall. I won't reveal too much, Corey, but guys, you'll just have to check it out. But it also has a little moment in the Rebels season 4 that introduces, well, Corey, earmuffs. It introduces the idea in Star Wars of time travel. So
yeah,
very cool.
The Veil of the Force.
Okay, Corey, you can
time travel.
Damn.
What?
But not to mention there was the stuff in the background and all that to do with that.
Where are they going to go?
Also, there was a blade. Right, I'm not sure what it. There was a handle, and then there was a little blade underneath it, and that blade looked very familiar. And there's two things it could be: is some ceremonial thing for the Sith, or there's actually a blade that disrupts lightsabers. It actually cuts through lightsabers. It makes them sort of turn off a bit.
Oh,
in the comics, yeah, it could be that as well. Vader spent ages looking for it, because obviously, it'd be great for killing Jedis.
Yeah, I mean that's I didn't. I wondered what that blade was, but I wasn't entirely sure. But another Easter egg, guys, because it doesn't end. There were so many, and like you said, if you find out more, put it in the chat. I would love to talk about if you caught something else. But to me, when I saw this, this freaked me out a little bit, because I was like, no, there's no way he would have these two artifacts. But the Sith and Jedi holocrons, like when I saw that, Corey, can you go ahead and pull up the slides again real quick? It's in, for those who don't know what the Sith and Jedi holocrons are, it's in that bottom right picture with a circle where you see a box and a pyramid. Pyramid. God, I cannot talk today. Pyramid.
Have a box and a pyramid.
pyramid, because I want some lemonade. No. Jesus. But it's on one of the shelves in Luthen's shop. And the Jedi and Sith holocrons are obviously those storage devices that hold like ancient knowledge of the Force, basically. Obviously the Sith pyramid is a little more for the dark side, and obviously Jedi light, but I think that was mainly brought up in Rebels, but we didn't see it in live action until, sadly, the final Star Wars film, Rise of Skywalker, which was interesting how they used it. Lord Koj's like lemonade. Yes, lemonade sounds good right now. Could use some lemonade.
Lemonade.
Have you ever had a pyramid though?
But guys, here's probably one of the craziest Easter eggs that this was one I didn't notice, but was mentioned, and I saw it blow up. Apparently there was an Indiana Jones Easter egg. Did anyone catch it?
What?
Nah.
Indiana Jones reference, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, Corey, if you want to bring up the picture again, I know I keep having you flip back. In that bottom right corner, you see this kind of this carbonite looking thing. That apparently is Indiana Jones' whip in carbonite.
Oh, wow. That went completely over my head.
It was very quick. I didn't, like I said, I totally missed it, but someone kept saying like, oh, Indiana Jones thing. And someone, I guess, asked and was like, is this true? And they were like, yeah, it is. And someone found the picture of it, and I was like, holy shit, it looks like it. So, and what a brilliant, like, little nod to Harrison Ford,
Especially being in carbonite. I don't appreciate that very much.
Hey, it just means this now, Corey. Indiana Jones exists in a galaxy far, far away.
And he's probably like,
well, actually, it already does. It already does. In Temple of Doom, there is a hieroglyph of R2D2 and C3PO in the background, written in the wall. It's already. Yeah.
Oh, see, and it could have been, from
and they
Indiana Jones 4, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the interdimensional
They actually
beings.
made a special edition comic as well, where Indiana Jones finds a crashed Millennium Falcon with the skeleton of Han and Chewie in it. So there's more. There's actually a big.
Whoa! Chewie was dead.
Yeah, well, it was they finally got to Earth somehow. Probably hyperspeeded too fast or something.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane indeed.
Insane. But obviously,
He's like, I'm not going to be in another damn movie. I swear to God. Hey, can we call you back, Harrison Ford, as Indiana Jones?
Yeah, no, it wasn't Temple of Doom. It was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah, and Lord Kojay's just brought up one there. That was in Temple of Doom at the beginning. The bar where they have the shootout is called Obi-Wan's.
Oh, I didn't know that. Brilliant. That's
Beginning
funny.
of the movie, yeah. Also, just a weird cameo from Dan Aykroyd for 2 seconds. I never got that.
I did see that for the first time like a month ago. Yeah, someone was like, Dan Aykroyd was in Temple of Doom. I was like, bullshit, man. And holy shit, there he is.
Hold up. I'm going to put Orc and Beans on the spot. Have you ever seen Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Why do you say are you not impressed?
You have this like...
They're fantastic movies.
I uploaded the leaked trailer on Facebook the other day.
Except for in the 4th movie. The fourth doesn't the 4th movie, doesn't he survive a nuke by getting into a refrigerator?
Hey now,
the 4th movie is just ignore that one.
I love the 4th movie. I know it's not like, to me it was so campy, but like Indiana Jones and it's not the best Indiana Jones film, but like some
the problem for me was the really bright CGI that really looked, that bit in the jungle. That looks so bad.
That was a bit
That
rough.
was just really bad. With the monkeys flying around and everything.
Lord Kojay says, I'm getting in my fridge during a crisis for show. If it worked for Harrison Ford, it'll work for you.
Only works with American fridges, though, unfortunately. So I'll be fucked in a nuclear war.
Oh man, guys, what did you think of that whole interaction? And there's more Easter eggs that we'll discuss in a little bit. But what did you think the whole interaction with Luthen meeting Mon?
I'm curious. So it was cool how they handled that situation of like, oh hey, let me buy this thing for my husband, and then oh well, actually we have something in the back that you could, and then as soon as they get back, they start talking business. And it sounds like they have some sort of secret spy circle that's been established for a while. And here's my theory: I've seen it online too. That the member that she wants to bring in is Leia.
Yeah, didn't even think of that. That's a good one.
5 years, but that would make her like a 13-year-old.
No, she would be. I think she's older at this point because she would have. The reasoning behind it is she would already kind of start like her apprenticeship on how to be like a senator or something, and so. I mean, Game of Thrones, they use kids as spies.
Yeah, but I feel... Well, let me ask you, because you probably know, Savage. How old was Luke Skywalker in Episode 4?
I thought it was 19, I thought.
19, and this takes 5 years before that? Okay, so she'd be 14.
She'd be 14. She could do it.
Yeah.
This is a big one. Oracle Clock Tower asked, do you think Luthen's assistant is Cassian's sister?
Oh, and that's why Luthen knows so much about Cassian?
That'd be interesting.
Intriguing, because, I mean, you could tell she knows about his, being a part of the rebellion. It's possible. That's not a bad thing.
Never even clocked that. That's a good possibility.
That's intriguing, Oracle. Or maybe that's the 7th member that we haven't seen yet,
Well, it's interesting, because Retro says, I was thinking Deidre is the 7th.
Are we doing our guesses on that now?
Are we there yet?
Should we wait for it at the end, Oracle?
Yeah,
You're the one that first brought it up, so I'll let you.
Yeah.
Let's just do it now.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
I also thought the seventh member is the sister.
Right.
Because I could see it as just... It has to be. Like, I can't think of another person that would make so much sense as, because they want that happy-go, big reveal or whatever. And maybe it's a thing where, right before the mission starts, she shows up. He's so happy to see her. And then when the mission happens, he ends up sabotaging the mission to save his sister again. And then it causes a huge issue there. Because he's a runner. He's not a fighter. He's going to want to save his sister because he hasn't seen her in a long time.
Happen.
What do you think, Corey?
Sister's going to die, and that's going to be why he joins the fight, the cause.
I think, if anything, he's going to find her. I think you're right, Corey, but I think there's going to be that dialogue of where she's all about the rebellion, and he's going to tell her that it's not, just let's live, and run away. And her sacrifice is going to be the thing that pulls him into the rebellion to fight for her cause. That's going to be his purpose.
Red Hooded Outlaw asks, is Deidre's cast sister? Do we think that, or do we think...
I don't think so, because I think his sister was brown hair, brown eyed. And she's
it wasn't sort of very Mexican looking.
Canarian.
Yeah.
Then again, as we learned, though, in Star Wars Clone Wars, you can change your appearance, because Obi-Wan had to do that for a secret mission.
Yeah, that was a good episode, that.
Right? Yeah, it was a fantastic episode, and helped kind of show Anakin Skywalker's even further downfall into not trusting the Jedi. I think that was season 5 or season 6, something like that. Great season, though. Clone Wars is just a great show.
It is ultimate. I can watch that on repeat.
I just finished it for the second time a couple days ago, and I've just
seen it so many times now. I always just do the whole thing and then Rebels afterwards.
Yeah, I've just started Rebels again. Oh my gosh! But obviously, here, Corey, can you go to the next slide?
Sure, bud.
Anyway, sorry, I was just thinking that maybe. It was as simple as the seventh person was Saw Gerrera. It was just as simple as that. That was my theory.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's possible, but I kind of got the sense from those 2 rebel guys, the one that was sleeping on the job, that Saw Gerrera is already kind of...
There's also another one. Because this is leading up to the times of the Death Star. It's not canon to the story, and the story is very different. But a total just my own thing is Kyle Katarn from the games. Maybe that's the 7th, and
interesting.
That'd be how they introduced Kyle Katarn into live action.
I like that. That's a good idea, Savage. That's not bad. I like that.
I'm gonna be pissed if it's Serial Karn.
I don't. Well, we do learn. So obviously, Surreal Karn is torn apart when after the security briefing that basically Pre-More security is out of. They've lost their right to govern. The Empire is now in, and basically, Surreal Karn is out of a job. And where does he go, Corey? He goes home to Mama. Home to Mama. What did you guys think of that? Like, to me, when I saw that, I was kind of like, oh man, like. While that's realistic in our world, I'm not sure how I felt about it. To me, it kind of seems like a direction for his character that I was like,
I think it's just to show like he's hit rock bottom, and like even like the shot of him like the elevator going down is like him just like he's hit rock bottom. He lost his job. He's got to go live with his mom again, and it's just. He's going through it.
Maybe
I hope the next episode is just him just sitting there, pants in the hand in the pants, eating Cheetos or blue milk Cheetos.
I hope he starts selling death sticks.
You know what?
I didn't really think much of it. Do you know what I was thinking at the time? Is the architecture of Coruscant and that place there was so mind blowing. It was. I was more focused on that really.
I like how his mom like bitch slapped the shit out of him too the second she saw him.
Why do you think she did that?
Obviously he went missing.
Too. Yeah.
He went missing, obviously, didn't he? And
he like left home. Is like, I'm gonna make a name for myself. Where am I gonna go? The Empire? Nope. Pre-more security. Shit.
She's like, hey, you screw up, big. Excuse me, screw up, big fella. You ain't in the Empire. You're in some wussy task force.
Did you just sneeze, Coy?
I did.
Someone call the Imperial Healthcare. We're going to have to rid you of this disease.
Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. Well, yep. So Surreal Karn has hit rock bottom, unfortunately for this poor dude. But Corey, did you have the next slide pulled up?
I do, bud.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. So one thing I just want to talk to you about real quick, just like a first discussion about this Luthen's shop. The gift he gives Mon Mothman for her husband. Did you guys think that had anything to do with the Force? The Force. I'm totally forgetting what they're called. Savage, you would recall. It's the last 2 episodes of season 6 of Clone Wars. Those Force creatures that Yoda meets up with. The Force. I
don't know what I can't think of it now.
Let me see if I can look it up. They have like multiple like feeling faces, and when I saw that like stone tablet, it made me wonder if that was them.
I don't know.
Let's see, Force Yoda.
Yeah.
Season 6.
Stone tablet. Oh, you're talking about the top right thingy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm totally spacing.
We're gonna make you uncomfortable.
Priestesses meets the Force priestesses.
Yeah.
It made me wonder if that was a tablet of them, of their religion, basically, because it kind of had like multiple faces, and it kind of looked like them. And I was just, is Savage and I the only ones who've seen Clone Wars? Have you not seen all of it yet, either, Orc?
How far are you, Orc?
Watching it again.
Like a couple episodes in season 1.
I've seen it like 10 times all the way through.
Maybe,
I guess the only person...
maybe we should do a watch party of me and Corey just watching Clone Wars.
That's
long.
That
would get us a lot of episodes.
It's long.
Pork and beans.
Sounds like a lot of content for us.
No, normally takes me about a week.
I would do that on a Twitch with you for a chill Sunday one time where we just binge watch. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess I'll just ask Savage then because he's seen it. Do you think my theory, any possible thing that could be the Force priestesses?
Yeah, possibly. Little bit based on that thing in Transformers that created the Transformers. I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. When I saw it, I was kind of like, maybe. I haven't heard anyone bring it up, so I'm probably wrong, but I kind of like looked around like Force Priestesses episode 4 and like no one mentioned it. I was like, damn it. I'm probably off. But to me it looks like it, so I'm gonna throw it out there just in case if it's true. And then I'm gonna call credit for it, and I want credit for it. But yeah. So obviously with this new rebel group, Cassian's now kind of getting introduced to everyone. How do you think it's going to work out for their plan that they have to take the Imperials, basically their payment, right? Like they're going to strip them of a shit ton of money, basically.
Well, it's kind of like what Cassian says, in episode 3, where he's like, I was able to steal this because I just walked in there like I could, and they're so, they have such a giant ego that they couldn't think that somebody would do this, and so I did. And I think that's kind of the plan here too. They kind of talk about it a little bit of like, this is a suicide mission, no one would be dumb enough to do this, and then the one guy's like, except for us. And so it doesn't sound like the best plan, but it sounds like they've been thinking about this a while, so I'm interested to see how it goes down. I'm sure it's not going to go the way they think it is, but good luck.
Yeah, I think if anything, the group is going to realize how much they need Cassian. I think he's going to be kind of their dark horse that's going to prove himself to be someone that is very valuable to their efforts, and they're going to need him more than ever. And I think he's going to be like, after the mission, like, cool, I'm done. I want my 200,000 credits, you know?
I'm confused about something. Why does Luthen makes, like, says, like, oh, he's a pilot. He's a pilot. He's a pilot. Has that been established in the show that he's a really good pilot, or is that just Luthen lying as to why they need him there? Because that was something that I thought was really interesting, was like they immediately say like, oh, he can be our pilot, and then they're gonna make him fly that one thing. But I feel like they never talk about it in the show that he's some great pilot.
I don't recall him calling him a pilot. I remember because
that's his whole role in this thing. Is he's supposed to be the pilot?
Huh.
Because they want him to take that. It didn't really look like a ship. It looked more like a truck. But that was the whole reason, was him selling. Yeah, see, Lord Koji says, I feel like they're overselling him as a pilot to be part of the team.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like he knows the machinery, and he did. I mean, the planet he was on, Ferrix, was building. It was basically a junkyard where they were building ships. So I mean, he would be very familiar with probably many different types of aircraft. But I wasn't under the impression, even from Rogue One, that Cassian was a phenomenal pilot. Like, I don't think he would be considered,
and I think it's just Luthen trying to lie to the team to sell it,
bullshitting them.
He's bullshitting them to sell him so that Cassian can be on the team.
Yeah. So espionage seems to be Cassian's forte.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It seems him as a spy and his, I don't know, you could say his natural ability to kind of weave in and out and kind of be undetected in a way where he's a part of the group,
He's a very, like, when shit goes wrong and, like, the plan, you throw the plan out, that's when you're like, all right, let's follow Cassian on how the heck we're going to get out of here, He's going to utilize the chaos of everything that's going on to find his escape.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's I think you're right about that, and I think Lord Kojay's on it too. I think Cassian's a tactician more than anything, a strategist like Batman, but not detective. To me, that's probably a pretty accurate description of Cassian's role, especially for this particular mission that they're going to be going on. Guys, to talk to you about a little something. Mon Mothman's husband, as she gets back to her home, he's setting up a dinner with basically a whole bunch of people that she hates in the Senate. People who go out of their way to just basically say no to whatever she, suggests and thinks is the right way to go about it. And these are people he considers his good friends and the life of the party.
It had a very Swingers vibe to me watching that scene. Yeah,
she's like, seriously, you're gonna sleep with these people again? He's just like, yes, of course.
Corey's like, you guys didn't see the upside down pineapples everywhere?
I don't even know what that means. What is an upside down? No, I don't want to know.
If you see an upside down pineapple, that means that they're swingers.
Or the pink flamingos in the front yard?
I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, you should probably remove those pink flamingos in your front yard.
I don't even call her out. There's no flamingos, Corey.
But it sounds like all of his friends are like pieces of shit. Like,
yeah, and she was even like, "Don't sit them next to me. Like, I don't want to be next to them."
Yeah, and this could be like people that was, in the Senate hall, whatever you want to call it, that they do close-ups of all the different species, and then you've got those people that kind of hang around behind the Emperor. Maybe it's some of them.
One of them is. One of them is. I forget what their name is, but it's the weird bald lady. There's I'll try to find it. There's a shot of one of them.
It was a very high society, like. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is, and I think someone said it like a snob. Oh yeah, Lord Kojay's called her called him a snob, and the fact that he's like, a rumor has it that you bought me a gift.
Not anymore. Returning that shit.
Yeah, she's like, on second thought, because you're bringing up people I don't like, you, bro. What's your guys' theories about their relationship? So clearly he's probably enjoying the life of the Empire. You know, he thinks everything's peachy, and she's obviously, you know, she was a part of, as you learn in Clone Wars, she was very much with Bail Organa and Padme about trying to stop the Clone Wars. She's very about peace, and she probably hates it. Well, we know she hates everything that the Empire is doing, but we never hear about her husband in any other the Star Wars canon that we see her in. Where do you think that will go with him?
I think he's definitely an Empire bloody collaborator, isn't he? It's pretty obvious.
Do you think he's the one that has spies following her?
Probably, yeah. He's the one that's betrayed her all along, because he seemed very, didn't really give a crap about any of it.
I guess I have more questions than anything. Like, when did they get married? You know, like, was it recent? Yeah. Was she? Did she marry him recently? Because he has ties to the Empire and some high ups and people she doesn't like. You know, it was a very not for love marriage. Feels
like she was betrothed to him.
Well, not even that. Like that's a possibility for sure. But maybe like they're using each other type thing.
Oh, like maybe she married him to be in that crowd so she knows what the Empire's up to.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's a sacrifice. I can't imagine that shit. That's some Game of Thrones like shit. This is a Game of Thrones Star Wars. That's an insane thought to even comprehend. Let's see, Lord Coach, they say, how long has that relationship been going with their? Oh, okay, yeah. So it's kind of the same thing that you were kind of discussing, Corey. Very, very, very interesting. Do you think in the next episode we'll see that dinner take place?
Yeah, that would be.
It'd be an interesting scene. I'd want to see it.
How do you think it's going to go down? I mean, I wouldn't think she would slip up and letting them know that she's part of the Rebel Alliance, but do you think she'll be able to bite her tongue and not bring any more attention to her and her dealings?
Probably not. Like, it's probably one of those things where you go to Thanksgiving dinner and it's got a bunch of family members you don't like, don't agree with, and they start spewing their mouth and stuff like that. And then eventually you're like, you know what? Fuck you. Here's what I think. Yeah. Your crazy uncle's talking politics again, and you're just like, you know what? This dude's ridiculous. So you kind of just have a couple outbursts and stuff like that. So maybe she might make some. I mean, she's not going to jeopardize everything, over a dinner, but she might make some comments that might be.
You're stupid like your father.
Well, one thing that was interesting, I don't know if you guys happen to catch this, but she actually brought up Gorman, which if you don't know what Gorman is in Star Wars lore, I think it was like first mentioned in a Star Wars, I want to say it was in the 90s. Like, I think it was like Star Wars X-Wing. I never played it. But the reason why I knew about it is because in Empire history, there was a protest that took place on Gorman, and basically it's like one of the biggest massacres in Republic history or Empire history, I guess you could say, that kind of sets it off into motion, the rebellion even further. And she mentions them by saying that the Empire has been cutting off their shipping routes so that the people are going to be starving, which I mean pretty much means people are going to start rioting and getting violent protests going on against the Empire. So I think that's a moment that we're actually going to see take place in Star Wars, and maybe the events that sets her off into leaving her husband, leaving the Empire behind, and being full on, Rebel Alliance leader that we all know from the, Star Wars films.
Dude's dead.
What's that?
There was a lot of that. There was a lot of that in Clone Wars, cutting off trade routes, and in episode 1, it was all about trade routes, cutting people off. So it seems likely. But this dinner thing, though, I know they obviously probably want to save this for possibly the end of season 1 or season 2. Wouldn't it be mad if Emperor Palpatine turned up for the dinner?
Oh,
Holy shit! You know, like them sort of one of them things where she's got to pretend to be nice to him, but really she wants to puke. Because he's like, you know...
God, you know what? That would be a wonderful scene. Simply for the tension that would be...
She's got to be all nice to him and all that. And he's like... you know, like...
You want to make a child? No, you freak.
Yeah, like, you know, and you can sort of... That would be... that would be interesting. But I think they will save... They're going to save the Emperor till later on. I'm convinced the Emperor is going to be the Luke Skywalker scene, you know, end of Mandalorian scene is going to be the Emperor. I'm sure of it.
Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot.
Not sure when, but it's going to be. It's going to be. Yeah.
Okay. Another great scene that we got was with Deidre, the Imperial officer. She's coming back reporting, and this is what kind of threw me off. I was starting to think that maybe she was Luthen's spy, and maybe she is. Maybe she is still Luthen's spy because of the interest she took in the Starpath unit being stolen. But she's actually telling the head Imperial security officer commander that, like, hey, like there's something at foot here. There's something like planned attacks. You know, there's this coordination going on. A rebel alliance that is building, and we need to shut it down. And he's basically doing what we've kind of seen everyone do. The Primor security, the Imperial forces, they're all kind of saying, like, yeah, chill. No one's stupid enough to go up against us. What do you think about that? That even she is kind of like, bro, like, were you expecting that? Or do you think this is maybe part of her plan? Or do you think she's even Luthen's spy? Or maybe she's the bad, you know, the big bad of the show?
Well, first of all, I love the way that guy handled the, the conversation where he's like, all right, speak. And then the other guy talked, and then he's like, all right, what's your say? And then, like, kind of just, like, let him bounce back and forth. And then after, he's like, all right, I'm making my decision kind of thing. I was surprised by it, and I can't think of the dude. I know the actor, but I was surprised by his response because he just got done talking this whole like spiel about like we rid disease and stuff like that. And she's actively saying like, hey, there's a trend going on here. We should do something about this. And he's like, no. We only go off of facts. You know, he's like, you're just assuming this is happening. And so I was kind of surprised that he didn't want to like take charge of it. And I wonder if she's going to end up kind of being like the female version of the dude that's now living with his mom. And I wonder if they'll kind of team up. That would be a little interesting, like a little interesting combo of like, hey, your superior didn't believe you that this is happening. And she's like, hey, mine also didn't believe that this was happening. And so then they kind of team up together. I think that would be an interesting combo.
That's a good one from Retro Nerd Girl.
Yeah.
They're both blonde for a start. And
yeah.
Back up to it's Lord Koj put a thing about Cassian dropping Rey off. I don't think the time don't work out. Rey's not old enough in, you know, fuck the sequels anyway, but Rey's not old enough. Wouldn't be old enough then.
Yeah, and Cassian would have been dead by then.
Cassian would have been dead, and she wouldn't be old enough. So that can't be that.
But it's an interesting. I mean, it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Let's see. You might be right. Yeah. So that's Retro Nerd Girl. You might be onto something there with Valen Deidre.
That is a good one.
I like that a lot. I could see that being the case because I do believe Deidre seemed, when she had that reaction to the Starpath unit, I immediately didn't think she was. I mean, because when you look at all the Imperial officers, you know, they're all going through like, oh yeah, this happened, that happened, and she's not really getting any type of reaction to it, you know. And yes, the Starpath unit was in her sector, but it really seems like that wasn't even brought up, you know. I mean, the thing that like was talked about in her sector was basically the fact that 2 people died, you know, on oh gosh, I'm spacing the very first planet that we were on before Ferrix. But yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. I could see that being her sister.
That does really make sense.
Really neat.
And back then, saying about the time travel thing, that's what we were talking about earlier, the Veil of the Force. But the most plausible thing for the Veil of the Force is when Ahsoka goes to fight Darth Vader. That is the point in time where it breaks off. If Vader kills Ahsoka, it goes to the sequels. If she lives, it goes to the timeline that we all want.
Yeah,
it's that moment in the story where they pull Ahsoka through time. So that is probably that. So we might get to see that in Ahsoka or the Mandalorian, because they're all pretty much connected now, aren't they?
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know.
I don't think they'll go through the time travel route in Andor because it's too grounded and serious.
Yeah,
I think it would fit better in Ahsoka or something like that. But I am praying that is going to happen. Because
you and me both, brother.
Obviously, everyone knows how much I fucking hate the sequels.
Yeah, I was not a fan.
And I mean, in the sequel fans as well, you still get to watch them. They still exist in that universe. But yeah, fuck it.
Oh man! So guys, as we kind of wrap this up towards the end of this episode. Obviously they want Cassian to learn everything, to make sure he has a plan set in order. And it was kind of like an awkward end again to this episode where it just kind of cuts off abruptly in a weird place where he's like, people are just staring at him eating, like, are you going to read now? And he's just like, you gave me a meal. Like, I'm going to sit here and eat now.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, Red Hood. They already did that. Yeah.
Do you think, I know we've kind of talked about it, but predictions for next episode, I think shit's going to hit the fan. Do you guys think the plan's going to work? They're going to come out on top? I mean, Luthen talked about how much they needed this to be a win. They're putting everything on it.
Real quick for Chad, we did notice that we spotted a few other things too, so definitely make sure you catch some of the replay.
Oh, Chad, man, it's good to see you, bro. I didn't realize you're a big Star Wars fan as well, dude. Yeah, check the replay. We do talk about a ton of Easter eggs, but after the show has ended, if there's any that we missed, put it in the comments. Let us know, so that way we can maybe bring it up for our episode 5 breakdown real quick. But yeah, dude, it's always good to see you, Chad, my man. Fire. But
there's no way this goes well.
No.
There's no shot that this goes well. I think, honestly, once we find out who the 7th member is, that'll probably be a big part. If it is the sister, I feel like Corey said, she's either going to die, or I think he's going to sacrifice the mission to save her or something. So I don't think it'll go well. It's probably going to be one of those things where they kept bringing up that this event happens all the time every 3 years. I really hope this event happens, because I think it would honestly look really, really cool. But I think it would be interesting if, for whatever reason, the day that they chose, it didn't happen this year, kind of thing. So I'm interested to see how badly it goes, but it's going to go badly.
Okay, how about you, Savage? Plan's going to go good, or do you expect some casualties?
Yeah, I think at least half of them are going to get killed. And,
I like how you did that with a smile on your face.
Yeah, and maybe that's how we find out that girl was Luthion's daughter, because she gets killed. And Cassian's like, oh, that's it, I've had enough of all this. I've sacrificed enough. And he's like, I just lost my daughter. And he's like, oh, was that your daughter? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
How about you, Super Bro Corey? Plan's gonna go the way it should?
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna go perfect, flawlessly, some might say. No, absolutely not, big fella. This shit's gonna go bad. It's already going bad. They just allowed another person in who's not even a part of the Rebel Alliance, So for them, it's already starting to go downhill, so it's going to continue to go downhill. Luckily, Cassian joining is actually going to be what saves some of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're all dead.
Cassie's just the last one standing, and that's when Luthen gets back and like, where the hell is everyone? Like,
I like the way that they referred to him. She referred to him as a mercenary as well. You know, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, that is what he is.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Did Bat Dan just do Obi-Wan gave up?
Yeah.
Bat Dan, you got problems. Well, guys, that is the end of episode 4, and I feel like every time they do these episodes with the opening credits of the music, it kind of gives you the tone that they're going to be doing in that episode. Like this one, last episode, they were doing like heavy drums and like you knew action was going to be action packed. It was going to blow up. And then in this episode, you just felt like it was building. It was building to something, and that's exactly what this episode. It was a build up to whatever's this heist that they're going to try to do in the next episode, which I kind of dig that as a theme for Star Wars as well, having this be kind of a heist and like espionage, like don't know who to trust, thriller kind of thing going on. It's all exciting, but for ratings, you guys all know we like to rate each episode. Last episode, I think our scores jumped up pretty high. We were mostly in the 8s. I think Corey was the only one in the 7s. 7-1. Savage, let's start with you. What's your rating, my man?
9. Beautiful cinematography. I absolutely loved Coruscant. It was just some of the best looking Star Wars ever made.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're just freaking loving this show.
I love it, man. Because it's like Star Wars for grown-ups. You know, I loved Obi-Wan and the Mandalorian and all that. There was a slight little bit of Disney stuff going on. This don't feel like Disney at all. And I think it seems that the sort of Mandalorian and that are filmed in America with that big screen thing technology, which can sometimes look a bit iffy because it's new technology. And I think that most of Cassian was filmed in Britain. And it's actual places, which just adds a whole sort of more realistic look to the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been talking about this with my brother. I think there might be a little bit of a competition going on to see who can make it better. Because well, obviously 90% of the cast of Cassian Andor is British. Do you know what I mean? All the Empire people, blah blah blah. And
just British people make good evil people.
Yeah, that's it. We're the best villains in the galaxy. Yeah,
we're watching you, Savage.
We know your true intentions for this channel. You are the crosshairs of this Delta Squad. How about you, Orchid Beans? What would you rate this episode?
I'm going to give it an 8.2. I really liked the Easter eggs. I liked the shots, the locations. It was a little slow for me. It was very clearly a bridge episode. But there was just some neat parts, and it's really setting up next episode. I think next episode's going to be a banger.
Nice. Super Bro Corey.
Yeah, man. I don't want to hurt any feelings here, but I'm going to give it a 6.8. Ooh, yeah. So here, and
I love how every time Corey gives like what he thinks is a horrible score, he's like, "Now I got to explain myself so people don't be like that guy's trash."
Well, no. Like I guess here's some things that isn't for me. I don't know Clone Wars, so there's that. So a lot of those Easter eggs that you're showing, and it's been so long since I played Force Unleashed, I didn't catch any of those Easter eggs, to be completely honest with you.
Out of curiosity, me telling you those Easter eggs, did it bump up your score?
Oh yeah,
it did nothing for you,
dude. Every single conversation we've had as a Delta Squad, I've bumped up my score some. Because as I'm watching it, dude, I'm struggling a little bit with Andor so far. And here might be my issue with it. And this is something that Super Batmom and I were kind of talking about, and something that I wanted to bring up. I think it might be bad that I've seen Rogue One before Andor. The fact that I know what happens to this character, spoiler alert, he's dead, big fella. He dies. So like he's kind of become a throwaway character for me. So I wonder if that's why some things are having some issues with this Andor series for myself. Like, don't get me wrong, it's I don't hate Andor, you bastard. Because the things that we talk about, I love seeing Coruscant, or not Coruscant. It's Friday night. I'm exhausted. I love seeing some of the planets that we haven't seen before, and some of the ones that we have seen. So there's some things there. I like some of the spy things there, but this was definitely a bridge episode for me. And since I rated the last one a 7.1, there's no way I can rate it higher than a 7.1. So for me, it's a 6.8. I feel like I don't have much attachment to Andor, specific Cassian, because I know his future. I don't know. Yeah, I love the Empire. I'm enjoying every aspect of that. So give me some more Empire, and maybe my scores go a little bit higher.
Corey's a Sith.
Well, duh.
In all fairness, Corey, I hear where you're coming from on your score, and I think it's valid points that you're all bringing up.
I feel like you screwed me a little bit by telling me to watch Rogue One.
I figured you should know, because just about everyone who's watching the show knows what happens because of Rogue One.
Yeah, but I feel like I should have seen Andor before I've seen Rogue One, because knowing that he dies, it's just like, oh, we don't really care about Andor that much, do we?
I won't say he's my favorite character ever.
Him as a person in the Star Wars.
I get you, but once they've completed it, it will make like a one. I've said about this before. I think someone said it. The Rogue One verse, Lord Kojay, is once this is finished. Me and my brother was talking about this. You'll be able to do a marathon of season 1 and 2 of Andor, Rogue One, and the first Star Wars movie. And that's the perfect set.
I will completely.
And then the rest.
Yes, yeah. I completely agree with you, Savage, and I think maybe that's why my scores are a little bit lower right now. I can see this being a show that once when I binge it all, this show is
flow perfectly together. Especially when Saw Gerrera turns up as well. It's all gonna really gonna properly link up.
And I'm gonna be like, oh, the show is an 8 or a 9 then, after seeing the entire flow of it. Yeah. Where like Obi-Wan, I was giving it decent scores because it's a character we love, type thing. So,
he dies at the end too.
Yeah,
does he though?
I'm really hoping that they do the same thing they did with Rogue One. When the white ship's taking off, and then that's the beginning of Star Wars. Maybe do the same with Cassian and Rogue One. Actually, have it like directly link off, so it's like 10 minutes in between.
That would be cool.
Because that made the New Hope so much better. Because when Vader was saying. They were saying, "Oh, we're on a diplomatic mission." Mm-hmm. Like Vader's like, "No, I literally just see you leave 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
don't talk shit all your life. I was there. You're a rebel spy and a traitor. Yeah. Take it away."
I guarantee you, if we get some scenes and quite a few, maybe quite a lot of episodes with Emperor Palpatine and this shit, I'm going to be loving that. Absolutely loving that.
I'm really praying for Palpatine. Yeah.
I think we'll get some.
But Palpatine. You built this up, Savage, that if he doesn't show up, this shit's going boom down, fella.
Yeah.
I'm going to be upset if Emperor Palpatine.
I know. We just have to pray.
Because of you, Savage.
Yeah.
I think the rating, I think last episode, I think it was like an 8.7, right? Or 8.8 something. I give it a high 8. I know that. It was a slower episode, which is okay. You need character development, and you're meeting new members of the team. I love the espionage, not knowing who to trust, storytelling they have going on here. I really loved seeing, I think Oracle even brought it up, just loving Luthen's scenes in this where he's, living this double life, and you can tell he hates being a part of this imperial society of the elites, you know, and he's not cool with it, you know, how he has to fake that smile, and you just see where he fakes it, he gets into that character, and then immediate back to like, well, this shit again. And I loved that about his character. It wasn't as good as episode 3 for me, but those Easter eggs did a lot. It definitely made me really excited about what more we could possibly see. I think I'm going to give it an 8.2. I think that's going to be my score, an 8.2.
8.2, yeah.
Yeah.
So 8, 9, and what did you give, Cody?
I gave a 8.2, 8.1, something like that.
Okay.
I think so. I think Cody and I had the same score.
Let's
pretty
see
much.
what we got from the chat. We got a 7.3 from Trevor H.
Okay.
Lord Koj gave it a 9, and he says, Star Wars for adults. Cheers, Savage. 6.8 from the Butler. I said 6.8 too, right? So me and Butler are dead on. Right? I said 6.8, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Just so I write down my score. 8.95723 from Batman. 8.4 from Oracle's Clock Tower for all the Easter eggs. 8.7 from the Retro Nerd Girl.
Yeah.
7.9 from Red Hooded Outlaw. 8.6 from hashtag Restore the Snyderverse Guy. 8.1 from Bat Fanatic. Hey, I'm loving seeing these. Yeah. I love seeing that people are enjoying this. You know, Super Bowl Corey hates Andor. It's not the case. I definitely don't. I feel like, you know, Trevor H hears me, says some fair points. But yeah, I'm hoping. I'm hoping because I don't want to hate anything. I love the grittiness and that grit feel of this. This is, and that's probably the reasons why I'm scoring it as high as I am, because if it was just same old Star Wars BS and Andor, which I'm not really vibing with quite yet, and not all these cool planets and the grittiness of it all, my scores would probably be even lower. But yeah,
interesting. I feel like with this show so far, you're either going to be all for it or you're going to kind of hate it. You know, it's not going to be for you. But like I said, stick with it. I mean, anyone who's like, "Oh, this is trash," you haven't seen all the show yet. You know, like,
oh yeah, and that's why I haven't given it trash scores. I'm still giving it, you know, above 5. You know, watch the
like
show.
Directing it towards you, Corey. There's some people who have really trashed this show, and
why are you coming at me, Trey?
Because it's you, Super Bro. Hero support.
Well, you are hero support.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, very, very cool. It's always so much fun hanging out with the Delta Squad. You know, these streams have just been absolute fire. And all I can do for my fellow Republic Commandos is, you know, roll out the red carpet for you, good sir. So, Orc and Beans, let us know what you got going on, good sir.
Yeah, I'm mostly over on Twitch, doing my gaming stuff. I've been trying to just stream as much as possible. So if you ever want to know if I'm streaming, I usually post on Twitter when I'm live, and I believe the next one will be Sunday.
What's your Twitter handle?
OrcandBeans14.
Beautiful.
Because unlike Trey, I was able to get my name on everything.
Yeah, I just wanted you to say it so people could know.
It's a real dick move. Which, speaking of dick move, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman again.
Woo! Can we talk about that for a second?
I wish I did a react. Oh, before we talk about it, Corey, sorry, Savage, I'm so sorry. It just popped in my brain of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. I didn't mean to interrupt. Tell us what you got going on, big fella, and then we'll explode about this.
Yeah, same thing. I've got my Saturday show tomorrow with Zod Writer. And then a Sunday crossover stream, both at the same time, if we can make it. Depends on some of the other big streaming people. I don't want to cross over them too much, but it's midnight UK time, so sort of afternoonish America at some point. But I'm trying to keep it consistent, so it's the same time Saturday and Sunday as much as I can, just to get people to get used to it and keep it simple.
Hey, Savage, are we able to buy Snyder Night t-shirts still?
Yeah, there is this Ink to the People
for that.
Yeah, but that'll be the last one now. it seems to be dwindling away. But we've done really well with that. Nearly $600 for AFSP.
Wow.
So really happy with that.
And for those who don't know what the AFSP, it's the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, a cause that we've donated to quite often with some of our live streams anyways. And just get these really cool shirts, guys. It goes to a really, really great cause. But sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure those who don't know
it's
AFSP
really cool.
is.
And Zack Snyder liked the post on Vero as well, which I was like, that's another, that was brilliant. I really can't ask for more than that. Recognition from the man himself.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be cool seeing him in one. That'd be awesome. And take a picture in the Sky Nights.
Yeah, that would be
could
cool.
Be cool.
I'll buy him one.
Perhaps he's bought one already. You never know.
You never know. He'll just show up one day on a stream just with the shirt on and just be like, "Oh, hey guys."
Shit.
Well, guys, thank you so much as always for. We forgot to DP3. Thank you, Lord Koj. You brought me up. Guys. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so upset that I didn't record a reaction to it because this probably would have been one of my greatest reactions ever.
I cried.
I did because Hugh Jackman, guys, I'm not a Marvel fan. I do like Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield's my boy.
Dude,
and so is Toby.
Deadpool is the best.
But Hugh Jackman is my favorite actor in history. And when I saw Logan, that is still one of the greatest superhero films ever made. And I will fight to the death anyone who says difference.
No, it still is. It competes. It competes with DC.
It's up with BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League,
it's well
Man
up
of Steel.
there with all that. Definitely.
Logan is a chef's kiss of a film, and it made me cry. That film made me cry so hard. You want to talk about a man who's just remember when Hugh Jackman is crying because of Patrick Stewart? That was me. I was like, ugly ass cried when I saw the reaction because my brother-in-law sent me the text message. He's like, dude, watch this. So I had no idea what to expect. I thought it was just one of Ryan Reynolds cricket wireless things, and then I see Hugh Jackman walk past, and literally I think I did you want to be Wolverine? Yeah, sure, Ryan.
That was
and
brilliant.
Literally a tear came down, and I was like, yes. Tears of joy.
It's becoming very clear that he's going to be wearing that yellow costume, isn't it? As well.
Yeah, I think
because that's what all the fans have been saying. Why didn't Hugh Jackman ever wear that yellow costume?
Teased us in the Wolverine
he teased it
film,
in the Wolverine. It's obvious that they're going to use that. Isn't it? That's going to be his last hurrah to say, right, you've had it all now. You've had old Logan. You've had the yellow suit. It's done.
And I hope it's not to the end where they really have to suit up and maybe Deadpool is hey, I got you something, and then bring
yeah. Oh, what I was saying to Mikey Sutton the other day, chatting, and I said, would it be funny if they did that Batman and Robin running side by side, Deadpool, Wolverine in the yellow suit with a light in the background shining up?
It's so funny because I remember when they were talking about Deadpool 3. And Hugh Jackman just kept saying no, I don't want to dishonor anything we did with Logan. And I remember thinking, well, okay, I would be happy if it was just a cameo of Hugh Jackman being Ryan, what are you doing? Just talking his Australian accent, just talking to Deadpool. I would have been okay with that. But the fact that he's coming back as Wolverine.
But hold up a second. Can by that being a theory of ours and something that we've talked about before, that definitely crossed the back of my mind. What if freaking Wolverine or Logan is just a hot dog, vendor guy, and that's all we see of Hugh Jackman? Because we know they have a very playful relationship. So do you think the fans would absolutely lose their fucking shit if they played up that Wolverine's going to be in it, and then he really is?
No, I don't think even Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. Even Ryan Reynolds wouldn't risk a prank like that because people are genuinely really excited for this.
Yeah. I mean, really, when you think about it, that blew up social media. It blew up more than any other Marvel thing.
Every single post was going through his wall.
You had DC fans going fucking crazy.
Yeah, I done a post about it. I actually put, a Marvel movie I'm actually hyped for.
No. Well, I mean, Orc and Beans, you're the big Marvel guy of this group, but what was your reaction to the news?
I lost my mind. I thought that was super cool because, yeah, he said it all the time that he was never gonna do it, and then the clip of from the movie where Deadpool's like, eventually you're gonna put up the claws, and then I'm gonna ask you to come back. Say yes, and everyone's like, they predicted it in the first, So it's one of those things where, that movie was already gonna probably do well, and now it's super gonna do well.
Yeah.
It's going to be well over $1 billion.
It's the greatest marketing they could have possibly have done for it.
You got Ryan Reynolds fans and Hugh Jackman fans. That's way over $1 billion.
All right, are we talking No Way Home numbers?
I think it has the potential to do that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, Deadpool, the first Deadpool did better. I think it was right about $400 million that it did in the box office, and then the second one did slightly less. But I think the fact that Hugh Jackman is now in this as Wolverine,
that's a lot of push power. That is a lot of power. Hugh Jackman in it,
and it's Deadpool entering the MCU, which means, and I don't think this is going to be a case. I don't think Wolverine's going to take over, Hugh Jackman as the MCU Wolverine. I would love that, but I'm sure this is Hugh coming back for Ryan. The amount of begging. He's probably just like, for God's sakes, dude, I will do it.
It's also going to be so much goddamn money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's getting paid. I mean, I especially love that video. He's like, dude, I make my own decisions. But granted, he knows the fans want this. They need this. And also, I think you're right, Savage. I think Hugh Jackman knows kind of the one regret of Wolverine with him.
Yeah. He must know that because there's, they're not silly. They look these things up in the internet. And plus, it's like the Ben Affleck thing. Same with Hugh Jackman. Saying this is the last time I'll ever play Batman or I'll ever play Wolverine. It is a little bit of leverage for the studios because you can then go, well, no, I've already said, and the studios go, but how about we pay you this much? And they go, I don't know. How about this much? And eventually they go, yeah, that will do.
Yeah.
Do we have an over-under for how many times Logan kills Deadpool in this movie?
Yeah.
Well, I loved that explanation of, how is Wolverine in this film? And they were just like, I mean, they just have wonderful chemistry. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a lot.
It's going to be a great movie.
I think he's going to just be irritated with Deadpool and, I don't know, maybe even cut off his balls or something, but I don't know.
He's going to slice him and dice him a few times for sure. We know it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because Logan knows that he'll just regenerate and come back to life. Yeah, I could easily see him just shut up, and just...
Now, here's a real question. Do you think Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, breaks the fourth wall and says, wasn't your mouth sewed shut?
Oh, has to.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe a joke
I mean,
about that.
Doesn't Deadpool kill Deadpool in one of the movies?
Yeah.
I think he does it in Deadpool too when he kills himself.
Yeah.
But
that version in Wolverine Origins.
Yeah.
That's definitely the worst.
No, it's Green Lantern. He's looking at the Green Lantern script, and then he
also kills that Deadpool. Like that's where they they re-edited the scene where he says, "Hey, a long time from now, Hugh, like your old pal Wade is gonna ask you to put back on the suit. Like, just say yes." And he starts shooting his body.
So. What are we thinking here? Do we think we're going to get a PG-13 film, or are we going to get rated R?
It has to be rated R.
Well, a lot of the X-Men were PG-13s. Logan was rated R. We've seen Deadpool go back and forth between R and PG-13.
The films came out theatrically in rated R, but when 20th Century Fox was purchased by Disney, they did that Christmas special.
I've never seen that.
Once Upon a Deadpool, I think they call it, which was basically just Deadpool 2 remastered in a way to where it was PG-13.
I honestly wish they'd make another cut where it's still the rated R version, but has the Princess Bride story in it, part of the story in it,
Yeah. That especially with the kid, he's like, dude, I'm like 30. It's like, shh.
No, I remember that. There was a funny story about that as well, and I'm convinced that the Deadpool Twitter account is actually Ryan Reynolds, and some mum put, "Oh, it's really disappointing that my 10-year-old son can't see Deadpool," And that Twitter account replied, "Tell your mum she's told to fuck off. She's a whore." And then they ended up releasing that thing. So I'm convinced that's Ryan Reynolds that runs that Twitter account.
It's so tough, man, because like when you think about like, especially this will probably be Hugh Jackman's last Wolverine film. It will be, most likely. So to me, it's kind of like one of those things. People are going to show up just for that because it is now the last time. I know Logan technically was, but here he is. And I think people are just going to want to show up for Hugh Jackman. And you know Ryan Reynolds is going to write a great story. But to me, it's kind of like the sad part is Ryan Reynolds, after he says he's hanging up Deadpool, no one should ever touch Deadpool for a very long time. Because he
this is the last one?
I don't think it is because he's just now entering the MCU, and I think they're gonna want him around for probably 3 more films. Jesus. But it's like the same way with Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is like Wolverine to me, and it's gonna be sad for the day that they cast a new Wolverine, but they will at some point.
Do you think Ryan Reynolds would let it go for 3 more films though? Ryan Reynolds has a very leave him wanting more type of guy.
I think he'll only do it. It really depends on what Kevin Feige wants with Deadpool. If he wants Deadpool to be a part of the connected MCU verse thing, I think you have a possibility that if he doesn't do solo films, he might appear in other films like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The other thing is the Wolverine's first appearance was versus the Hulk when it in the comics. So they perhaps tie that into this film, if not do a Wolverine versus Hulk film. But instead of it being Mark Ruffalo, who's Edward Norton?
But like, man,
maybe not Edward Norton, but Edward Norton's Hulk,
or even maybe Eric Bana, from the first Hulk film. That could be crazy.
I see. This is where it kind of concerns me, and maybe Feige will know how to do it correctly. Because Deadpool, if you watch the comics or read the comics and follow that route, we're getting into some stuff that I don't know if Kevin Feige and the MCU wants to touch can get into. Because we know Deadpool, we know he will fuck anything and everything. And that when you mentioned Spider-Man, dude, and that Deadpool and Spider-Man, he's in love with Spider-Man. He wants to do stuff to him, but he's trying to kill Peter Parker because he's like, a corporate, guy that.
Yeah, but I think Ryan Reynolds knows how to play that off, just kind of like what he did with is it Colossus?
Yeah.
I think he would know how to play that in such a fun way where I'm in love with Peter Parker, but really he's like.
But do you think the rest of the MCU, this is a great question for Orchid Beats. Do you think the MCU is ready for a Deadpool entrance into the MCU where he's trying to pretty much fuck everything?
I feel like they're smart enough to know that if they try to dilute Deadpool, it wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could see them probably not putting him in other movies and just keeping him on his own because they don't want to try to associate Deadpool with some of their other, superheroes or whatever. So I think it would be hard for them to. He's super pissed that I haven't fed him. So I think they know that they can't dilute Deadpool, but they probably want to keep him away from their other stuff.
See, that's what I'm saying. Deadpool is a risky character to bring within your MCU. There's a reason why he's been outside, getting these non-big characters,
Well, though, I think they'll kind of handle it in a similar way with 20th Century Fox, where Deadpool wasn't quite a part of the X-Men verse, but they made an appearance and it was a joke. you know, because he's just like, man, you would think the studio would throw us a bone that we would get someone from the X-Men, and you see them in another room and they close the door because they don't want to be a part of Deadpool.
Yes, exactly.
I could see them doing something like where you see Tom Holland off in a corner just like looking around because he's like, oh, that's Spider-Man in his tights, you know, and he just like, you know, starts running away because he's like, I don't want this dude to come near me. You know, give it a real rape vibe. It's something that Ryan Reynolds can constantly have fun with. And honestly, maybe with the next Multiverse of Madness type of Doctor Strange film, I mean, what was rumored was Deadpool was going to show up in that, right? But he didn't. I think you could do that with the Spider-Verse, with the Multiverse, you know, the Web of Madness.
I wouldn't be surprised if he turned up in, you know, this is obviously an X-Men character, sort of, in the new X-Men crossover with the MCU. I could really see him trying to hit on She-Hulk when she becomes one of the new Avengers, things like that. And the new sort of Avengers gonna go in, who the hell is this guy? You know, like they did in the comics. I can see them doing that eventually.
What if Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, shows up in Blade as Deadpool?
Yeah.
Think about it, Trey.
I mean, it could be cool.
Ryan Reynolds was in Blade.
No matter what, I would say however long Ryan Reynolds wants to play Deadpool, if he wants to do it for another 10, 15 years, if he has a good idea, let him do it. I don't care.
My caution to the MCU and bringing in Deadpool into the MCU, and Ryan Reynolds specifically, you better not put him on a leash, MCU, or I'm going to be fucking pissed.
Yeah, I think Kevin Feige knows not to do that. I mean, you kind of even heard him say that with Moon Knight. I know you haven't seen the Moon Knight show, Corey, but Moon Knight was pretty violent for Marvel. And the director, and I'm totally spacing the actor's name, Oscar Isaac, is it? Oscar Isaac asked Kevin Feige, like, you're really going to let us do this? And Kevin Feige says, this is Moon Knight. This is who he is. Like, yes, you're going to beat the shit out of that dude's face.
So they're going to DC better than DC, huh?
I wouldn't go that far.
DC has David Zaslav has a plan, my man, and he's
old DC.
Someone mentioned Blade. Bit worried about Blade, you know, because Blade is one of the best characters that Marvel have ever, you know, done in film, really, and it revitalized the superhero movie.
Yeah.
After the disaster of Batman and Robin, it was Blade that kicked it all off again.
True.
Even though it was classed as a horror. It definitely, right, Marvel was like, oh, we can make money out of this.
Yeah.
And then, boom, Spider-Man, X-Men, all that.
And I think people are ready for it. You know, I think people like Werewolf by Night looks like it's going to be a violent show. I mean, to me, you know me, I don't get like overly excited for Marvel stuff other than like Spider-Man No Way Home. But like Werewolf by Night, when I watched that trailer, I was like, holy shit, I can't wait for this. Maybe Orc and Beans, if you want to, we could maybe review that with the Marvel stuff if you want to lead the charge on that.
Bring back the Spider Channel.
Bring back the Spider Channel. Maybe the Spider Channel will have its day in the sun again.
Well,
but guys, I just want to say,
did you hear what Batman said?
What?
I think he's trolling. Wow.
Yeah,
Batman. He's like, you guys are talking about Marvel stuff too long. Let's get back to DC. So guys, man, look at that. We spent 20 minutes talking about Marvel stuff. Who would have thought the Bat Channel would be doing that?
Yeah.
But it's always a blast hanging out with Delta Squad, guys. Like, we just have fun and we lose time of what's going on. We were just talking about Andor, and then all of a sudden ended up on Ryan Reynolds coming back. But guys, I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to Orc and Beans 14. Subscribe to the Savage Bat. Smash that like. Share this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And make sure you guys comment what your favorite part of Andor or what maybe your theories are for the future episodes of Andor. I would love to hear them and maybe discuss them.
Do it. Just do it. Do it.
Guys, thank you so much. I am your host, Trey, with
the motherfucking Batman. Savage Bat.
Orc and Beans 14.
Super Bro Corey.
Don't forget to tune in weekly.
Same bat time.
Same bat channel.
Batman out.
Peace.